Hey, this is Phil. I just wanted to give you my review of John Wick 4. I went and saw that tonight, and I was very entertained. That's all I have to say for the most part. I paid $7 to see it on a 4:30 show on a Monday night, and the theater had probably 8 people in it, in a 300-seat theater, and everybody was pretty adult and well behaved. But I'm going to tell you things about the John Wick movie that are not spoilers. I'm not going to ruin it for you, because a lot of people, I mean, they even played a I was sitting there, but I got there way early. I got there like an hour and maybe 10 minutes early, because I was doing that thing I always do about just going somewhere. And I was driving around, and I'd got this camera, this new camera, but I wasn't in a hurry, because I knew I wanted to go home and just take it all apart at home and examine it and see what was going on with it. I didn't want to tear it apart in the car. So I went up to the theater I usually go to, which is an isolated theater up on the top of a hill, and it's just a little hole-in-the-wall place, nothing special. I mean, I didn't ask them, but I don't think they have IMAX. But anyway, so I went there and I asked him at like 3:30. I said, when's the next showing of John Wick 4? And he said, well, 4:30. And I didn't know it was 3:30 at the time. My phone had died, and I'd fought traffic all the way home. I went up and paid a bill. I have to go to a credit union up in Garrisonville, Virginia, to pay a bill to NASA Federal Credit Union every month. But I'm very grateful to the people, and the people at the Marine Federal Credit Union are just awesome people. So I got that knocked out the way, and I went into Walmart and I looked at their cameras, and they had the cheap Sony, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I went over to Best Buy up in Woodbridge and got my camera. Anyway, that's not John Wick. This is about John Wick. So I got into the theater early, probably 4 o'clock, and they bombarded me for a half an hour with the most inane nonsense that you could ever watch. But they also ran a trailer for John Wick 4 in the theater. And that was the reason I went and saw it today, because I didn't want to see anything about the movie. I didn't want to know about the movie. And they're so good at this shit now, where they tell you everything about the movie before you go. Why should you even go and see it? Why even go see the movie? They've already told you the plot, what happens. You got people who post on YouTube and they tell you everything that's going on in the movie. But I purposely, that was one subject I did not let YouTube show me. I follow this guy named Penguin Zero and another guy named Ordinary Gamers. Those two guys are smart as hell, and they got their finger on the pulse of everything that's on the internet and also in the movies. And he did a review where he tried to not give up any spoilers about John Wick, and sure enough, in the first minute and 18 seconds he gave up a spoiler about the motorcycle chase, and it actually turned out to not be accurate. So I'm not going to tell you what he said. I'm not going to tell you anything about the movie, other than to say that I think that on a matinee price, that you should go see it. If you've watched if you watched all the other John Wick 4 movies, this is worth seeing. They've said that it's better. It's the best John Wick movie ever, and I have to disagree with them. I think that John Wick 1 was outstanding. I think that was probably one of the best revenge movies ever made. This movie suffers from some issues in pacing and also in reality because, but anyway, like I said, I'm not going to tell you spoilers. You'll see it when you see it, but it's worth seeing it in the theaters. Don't wait for streaming and all that bullshit. See it in the theater. The soundtrack was pretty good. I wish they had worked. They're shooting guns all the time. I wish they had worked on the sound a little bit more. I wish he had invested a little bit more in the sound, because there's a movie called Heat with Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer and a host of other just legendary actors, and the sound in that movie, that sound has never been equaled for the sound of a high-powered rifle being fired between buildings. That sound was so perfect that it has never been equaled. I saw that in the theater, and I swear to God, I was looking around, I thought somebody was in the theater shooting over my head. That's how good that sound was. So anyway, John Wick 4 is worth the money. Go see it in the theater. Don't wait. Don't let it bypass you and go into streaming. But go spend your money on a matinee. I actually sat in the theater as a challenge to myself because I'm on the 4th day of a fast, and I haven't eaten any solid foods in 4 days. I had some mild diarrhea for the first 2 days. I actually passed some bowels in the 3rd day, passed some, matter. I was surprised about it. I was like, damn, I ain't ate nothing for 3 days. How can I be, relieving something out? But I did. So I'm on the 4th day of this. And now, today, which is Tuesday, I'm on the 5th day of this. So it's interesting to see how this is going to work out. But anyway, John Wick 4, man, it's worth the money. Go suspend your belief. Follow John Wick through his travails and see what happens. I'm not going to tell you anything that happens in the movie other than to say it's worth watching. It is a human being cartoon, but in the best way. So just go to enjoy yourself. I left the theater at the end of the credits. I know that there was something at the other side of the credits that they mentioned as a sort of a teaser, and I didn't feel like I wanted to see it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to know. These are things that this pisses me off about Hollywood today. They spend so much time building a product, and then when they go to promote it, they leave no mystery in the product. It's stupid. Why spend 6 months shooting a movie, spend 2 months editing it, spend a month, wrapping it up and printing out copies and shipping them out, and then spend 2 months promoting it before you open it up? If you're going to tell us everything about the movie, it doesn't make any damn sense. None. So when I see a movie that they have told us everything about the movie, I know the movie is crap. And they didn't tell us everything about John Wick, which was great. So that's my thing too, is if they're going to tell you everything about the movie, if they're going to explain the whole movie to you before you ever are tempted to buy a ticket, I'm not going to go to the movie. I'm not going to do it. And, they like to send their, and YouTube is a phenomenon, and so is other like Twitch and Twitter, is a phenomenon where they like to invite people from YouTube and Twitch and Twitter to see the movies in advance, and then they'll, blast it on those, social media platforms, and that ruins the movie. It just ruins it. All I can tell you is this about John Wick 4 is this. If you saw John Wick 1, John Wick 2, and John Wick 3, and you were entertained, you will certainly be entertained in John Wick 4. And that is the most important thing about a movie. Are you entertained? And yes, I was entertained. Keanu and everybody who worked on that movie, thank you so much for entertaining me. It was less than 2 hours, but it sure seemed like 2 hours because there was so much that happened in that movie, I could not believe it. And I will say this about Keanu Reeves and all of the actors that was in this movie. I have to tell you this one thing. They worked their goddamn asses off for you to be entertained. Especially Keanu Reeves. And I know I want to apologize to God, but I'm telling you, the amount of work they put into this piece of work, the amount of physical labor that they extended to this, the stuntmen and the actors and the directors and the camera shooters. There's so much effort in this movie. I was exhausted. Halfway through the movie, I could not believe that Keanu Reeves was not in the hospital somewhere. Just from the amount of activity that he did in the scenes. So, yeah. Go see it. Go see it in the theaters, okay? Peace. Have a good one, folks.